Let's take a listen from the GM, who's at practice right now. He's roaming the sidelines, looking for some of these rookies. And I mentioned I was taking a look at the defense. Javon Bullard playing with the first team defense as the starting safety, aside Xavier McKinney. You also had a couple other rookies taking Edrin Cooper, actually, by the way, with the first team defense as well in the base 4-3. Him, Isaiah McDuffie, and Quay Walker, the three linebackers. So we'll hear from Goody momentarily. Tiny Hands, Hunter Vaughn running the show, getting everything ready for us back at the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison. Chris Larson back at the Gruber Law offices, One Call That's All Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee, holding it down for us on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee. I feel like we're covering all the bases. I grew up in Green Bay. I spent 3 years in Madison. Now I'm in Milwaukee. We're covering all the bases today. Let's take a listen. The general manager of the Green Bay Packers, Brian Gutekunst, meeting with the media ahead of practice number 1 at training camp, saying this about the ongoing situation between Jordan Love and the Packers.
I think it was Saturday night. They kind of informed us that until we get something done that he would not practice again. So unless something gets done here before practice starts here pretty soon, he will not be practicing. But again, I think this is something we're all working on, and we certainly understand where he's coming from. We'd like him to be out there. It's important for him to be out there. Obviously, you guys know how important practice is, and working with his teammates. So, but as of now, until we get that resolved, he will not be practicing. He'll be taking part in. He reported last week. He's taking part in everything else.
A classic example of a hold in by Love, applying the pressure, saying, "Hey, I'll be here. I'm a good teammate. I'm going to be here for my guys. But until I get that check, until I get that whatever it's going to end up being as a signing bonus," we saw reports over the weekend, maybe $75, $80 million signing bonus, I ain't putting on a helmet. I ain't putting on a jersey. Jordan Love is at practice in a long-sleeve white Green Bay Packers shirt and a pair of shorts, walking around. He was meeting with the running backs. He walked out with head coach Matt LaFleur from the Don Hutson Center following the stretching and the pre-practice activities that the team did. So Jordan Love is here. He just is not practicing. He is the one player not practicing today. As a couple guys, Jaden Reed also not practicing today, but everybody else that was on the non-football injury list yesterday, which came out, is active today. So Jaden Reed and Jordan Love really the two main guys, but Love not wearing a jersey, not wearing a helmet, not participating in the stretches or any of the offensive activities, which means when I talk about the first-team defense, the first-team offense I watched them go against was led by Sean Clifford. Sean Clifford taking first-team quarterback reps today for the Packers. This is something we have spent the entirety of the offseason discussing. When will the deal get done? How much will it be for? Will Jordan Love become the highest-paid quarterback in the NFL in terms of annual average value? I think ultimately the answer to that question will be yes. But the answer to when will it get done, it's starting to get a little tricky all of a sudden. I was adamant it would be done before 10:30 a.m. today. Obviously, that's not the case. However, from what we are hearing and what we know, Jordan Love is here. His team is here. They are meeting actively. And you just heard Brian Gutekunst say it. Over the weekend, they were told, until a deal is done, he will not be practicing. I don't anticipate this going very far. Today is Monday the 22nd. Packers have another practice tomorrow open to the public. I would guess by the end of the week, Friday, pen is put to paper. I mentioned at the top, right? Another year without, or a first year in what feels like a decade without real quarterback drama. Now we've got to manufacture it. But by Jordan Love holding in, not practicing today. But this is so much different than anything that ever happened with Aaron Rodgers. It's so much different. Jordan Love learned everything what not to do from Aaron Rodgers. Other than when it comes to the actual play on the field, Jordan Love had What Not to Do 101 written by his predecessor, Aaron Rodgers. So Love is here. He's not going to talk to the media. And if he does, he's not going to say much. Just like he didn't last week at his football camp in Milwaukee, where he had some guy run over and say the word no 68 times when asked about the contract negotiations. He's not going to say squat. And he shouldn't. And he shouldn't. But I would imagine by the end of the week, way before we get to preseason game 1, way before we get too deep into this training camp shenanigans over the course of the next couple weeks, pen will be put to paper, and Jordan Love will be a very, very rich man. I think that's that. Hunter Vaughn back at the Everlight Solar Studio running the show for us today. Hunter, I know you're a Cowboys fan. For those of you that have never heard from Hunter before, on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam. Hunter is a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. He grew up in Wisconsin. He lives in Wisconsin. He follows the Packers. Cowboys kind of have a similar situation going on with a guy by the name of Dak Prescott. He might be one of the next guys that gets paid. As Rich Bisaccia, the associate head coach and special teams coordinator of the Packers, walking past us, behind us here at the Tundra Trio. Hunter, end of the week is my guess when it comes to Jordan Love. I don't think it's going to last very long. Where are you at?
Yeah, he doesn't seem like the type of guy that's going to let this last very long. Because I think he gets like, I need to get there. I need to be there with these receivers. It's a different situation for Dak, who might be holding out as well, where he's like, no, like, I've been here. I want my money. I've statistically been one of the better quarterbacks. Like, I deserve it, and I'm not going to come in, and the team needs me. Jordan Love kind of is in a spot where it's like, maybe I need to get this done a little faster. So I think he might be a little bit more willing to concede some things. Sure. That initially he was like, I want this, but I think he kind of gets like, no, this team needs me right now.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And again, this will likely be the youngest team in the NFL. They were the youngest team to make the playoffs last year since the AFL-NFL merger. They were the youngest team to ever win a playoff game last year when they smoked your Dallas Cowboys, Hunter. How's that one feel? And now this year they will likely once again be the youngest team in the NFL. When it comes to leadership, there ain't a lot of it. Last year, they never signed a veteran quarterback backup for Jordan Love because they want him to be the leader. So for him to show up this week, for him to hold in, not hold out, I think is a big indication of the type of guy that is leading the Green Bay Packers going forward. The deal's going to get done at some point, but he's not going to practice until it does. And once again, I say, rightfully so. Jordan Love is going to be a very, very rich man. Again, I say rightfully so, and he shouldn't play until he gets that payday. 844-770-3776 is your way into Mr. Irrelevant, live with you until 2 o'clock, leading you into Kyle Bruston Nortman across ESPN Wisconsin here at the Tundra Trio Houses in beautiful Green Bay. We see, I mentioned Rich Bisaccia, special teams coordinator and assistant head coach, just walked by us. We also saw the world-famous media, Rob Demovsky and his shiny bald head walking behind us here at Lambeau Field. So that indicates to me practice is over, in the books. It's about 12:10, so that's a little over an hour and a half long. Practice number 1 in the books. Football season officially here in beautiful Green Bay. 844-770-ESPN, 844-770-3776 is your way in to Mr. Irrelevant. A couple things I want to get to this hour. Brad Nortman's going to join us about 12:30 from the aforementioned Kyle Bruston Nortman, 6-year NFL punter, former Wisconsin punter. I really want to dive into the concept of a third contract, right? The Packers don't sign those. They did over the weekend with Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark getting a 3-year, $64 million contract extension. That is contract number 3 for him in Green Bay. He is the only active Packer now on his third contract with the Green Bay Packers. Fascinating concept. Kenny deserved it. He got his money. He got his payday. So about 12:30, we'll talk about that with the former NFL player Brad Nortman here in about 20 minutes. Also want to give you a rundown on your opportunity today on Mr. Irrelevant. For the first time in about a half decade, the ESPN Wisconsin Fantasy Football Leagues are back. We're giving away 10 slots into the ESPN Wisconsin Fantasy Football League today. Your time to shine. We're going to give away 5 spots at 12:24. We're going to give away 5 more spots at 1:24 to celebrate the start of the 2024 NFL season, which launched today across the street here in Green Bay for the Green Bay Packers. Training camp practice number 1 in the books. I got to watch a little bit of practice. I'll give you some observations throughout the show today. But coming up next, one ESPN Wisconsin host said the most ridiculous, stupid thing I've heard all day. And I've been with Ben Brust all day. That's a high bar. I will tell you who that was, what they said, and we will celebrate the start of the NFL season. Coming up next, it's Mr. Irrelevant, presented by Door County Distillery on ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Mr. Irrelevant with Alex Strouf. Miss any of the show? Find commercial-free podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, it's John Hayes, owner of Goodman's Jewelers. Come in and discover the high standards, classic traditions, honesty, integrity, and elegance when you walk through our doors. For over 90 years, customers have returned again and again to our warm boutique setting. Trust me, because I've been there for over 40 of them. Whether it's time to come back or your first time in, stop by Goodman's Jewelers at 220 State Street today. Goodman's Jewelers, the diamond store of Madison since 1933.
The best is at Goodman's.
Breaking news on ESPN Madison is presented by Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or visit metrokiaofmadison.com.
Attention business owners and executives. Looking for a bank that's invested in your community as you are? Look no further than Starion Bank. As a Dane County community bank, Starion offers competitive deposit and loan rates while actively supporting local initiatives. Visit a business banker at one of our convenient branches in Middleton, Monona, and Sun Prairie. Starion Bank, full-service business banking, lending, and cash management.
You can't miss a moment with Greeny.
Davante Adams is a guy who makes a lot of money, and this is a team that is starting kind of from scratch. Could we be living in a world where they would entertain trading Davante Adams? Absolutely. We put that together with Aaron Rodgers saying the other day on the golf course, I look forward to playing with Davante again. If everything kind of goes the way I could see it going, I could see Davante Adams on the Jets by Halloween.
Greeny, weekdays noon to 2 on 100.5 ESPN.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
Stoughton Health, in collaboration with patient and family advisors, seeks to advance the healthcare experience at Stoughton Health by providing a forum for past patients and families to provide feedback on a variety of healthcare and other related topics. Advisors offer constructive feedback on their personal journey at Stoughton Health, helping to elevate the patient experience and increase satisfaction. Interested? Please call Amy at 608-873-2308.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
Join the Madison Money Guy, Christian Finfrock, for Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Get the information you need as you plan for retirement. That's Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Income Strategies, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Wisconsin's all-time sack leader is finally a Hall of Famer.
Dollar led the Big Ten, always revved up to come off that corner.
Congratulations to ESPN Madison's Tarek Saleh, proud member of the UW Athletic Hall of Fame class of 2024.
Time for me to fly. Oh, I got to set myself free. Time for me to fly. Now that's just how it's got to be. I know it hurts to say goodbye, but it's time for me to fly.
Yeah, Mr. Relevant, presented by Door County Distillery, with you live from Green Bay. Practice number 1 is in the books for the Green Bay Packers, as I see some players making their way back behind us. And Ben Brust from Kyle Brust and Nortman is shamelessly chirping everybody that walks past us here at the Tundra Trio house, is just in the shadow of Lambeau Field. We're getting our video stream situated. If you are rocking with us on ESPN Madison, ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube, you saw in the first segment, we are literally right next to Lambeau Field. As there's Keyshawn Nixon walking by alongside a couple other players here at Lambeau Field. It's practice number 1 in the books. I woke up this morning, about 5 a.m. this morning I woke up, and I just had like the kid on Christmas excitement that one has, right? I tweeted this out this morning. Happy football season to all who celebrate. It was the first thing I did when I woke up, or one of the first things I did when I wake up. 6:31 a.m. Happy football season to all who celebrate. And I was driving up to Green Bay. I'm listening to ESPN Milwaukee's morning show. Very good show, usually. 7 to 9 a.m., Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on ESPN Milwaukee. And about 8 o'clock, I heard this from the guy I least expected it from. Gabe Neitzel said this on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy this morning.
Can I get something off my chest real quick?
Please.
Because I keep seeing this on Twitter, and it's just bugging the crap out of me. Like, everyone wants to celebrate, oh, hey, we made it, football season. No. All right? We're not there yet. You guys that are celebrating that today is the start of football season, it feels like when we would take road trips as a kid, and on our way back, we would cross the Wisconsin state line, and my sister would be like, oh, we made it home. No, we haven't. We still got 2 hours home. We still have a long way to go yet. We still have a big part of the season. Today is not the official start of football season. It starts... It's nice.
But it's a taste. It's the taste of football.
It's a taste, but we didn't make it.
What an absolute clown take by Gabe Neitzel. First off, I do not appreciate the disrespect of being subtweeted on the radio by Gabe Neitzel during Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. This is the start of football season. There is football being played across the street. I understand we're not keeping score. I understand we're not wearing shoulder pads quite yet. But we've got quarterback drama. We've got rookies playing on defense. We've got our first look at the full 90-man squad, 89 today, I guess, with no Jordan Love, across the street. This is football season. And I can't help but think about Gabe Neitzel and the a million things he does for us at ESPN Wisconsin. He's the hardest working man in showbiz. Across the street from the practice facility here in Green Bay is a place called the Resch Center. The Resch Center is, for those of you not familiar, it's for events. It's like Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee or the Kohl Center in Madison. The Green Bay Blizzard, I used to be the voice of the Indoor Football League. They play there. The Green Bay Phoenix, now coached by Doug Gottlieb, they play at the Resch Center. Tonight at the Resch Center is WWE Monday Night Raw. And that had me thinking about Gabe Neitzel, the host of Good Karma Wrestling, every Thursday at 6 o'clock across various Good Karma Brands platforms, GKW. I would never yuck your yum when it comes to liking wrestling. Right? I hate when people say, wrestling's fake. I understand that. We are aware. Thank you for your insight. But why are you hating on somebody else's enjoyment of a product? For me, this is the start of football season. Josh Jacobs, I watched that big, beefy running back man take a tiny bike across the street here in Green Bay. That is the official indication that football season is here. We've got Jordan Love holding in. We've got Josh Jacobs and A.J. Dillon riding bikes much too small for big running backs that play in the NFL. I heard this from Gabe Neitzel, and it infuriated me. I'm not sure why. I love Gabe. Gabe knows that. But right now I don't. Him and I are in a fight just like the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love are, because this is the start of football season. You can probably faintly hear behind me. This is going to be hard not to get distracted by Ben Brust, who's just yelling nonsense at everybody who walks past, which now I believe includes head coach Matt LaFleur, who's walking past us here at the Tundra Trio House as he's signing a hat, just like he signed Ben Brust's Jets Aaron Rodgers jersey last year. So we are going to keep an eye on this, see if there's any awkward interaction behind me. As Matt LaFleur, I heard, per sources, is considering a restraining order against Ben Brust. This might further that argument here outside of Lambeau Field. Matt LaFleur signing some autographs behind us here at Lambeau Field, if you can see on the video stream. So, yeah, I mean, this is the beauty, right? Like, to my point, this is football season. Ben Brust is yelling at Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur's signing autographs for people. Brad Nortman and Ben Brust now wrestling behind me. It is a good time. It is about 12:24, so let's do this. 844-770-3776. Callers 1 through 5 are going to qualify for the ESPN Wisconsin Fantasy Football Draft happening August 1st, 6 o'clock at Dave & Buster's in Wauwatosa. You got to be present in Wauwatosa, and if you can be present, August 1st, 6 o'clock, ESPN Wisconsin Fantasy Football Draft, your way in is right now. 844-770-3776. Callers 1 through 5 get a spot in the ESPN Wisconsin Fantasy Football League. 844-770-3776. Caller 1, caller 2, caller 3, caller 4, caller 5. You are qualified for the ESPN Wisconsin Fantasy Football League drafting on August 1st at Dave & Buster's in Wauwatosa. We'll do that again at 1:24. 5 more spots to give away in the 1 o'clock hour to celebrate the start of the 2024 NFL season, Gabe Neitzel, which is today, as practice number 1 in the books, just across the street from Lambeau Field. Beautiful day here in Green Bay, man. Sun is shining, just a few clouds in the sky, and we are really enjoying it. About 80 degrees outside. The big news over the weekend from the Green Bay Packers is Kenny Clark signing a contract extension with the Green Bay Packers. It is a 3-year, $64 million extension. That is his third contract with the Green Bay Packers, a rare third contract for a Green Bay Packer. We talk about the quote-unquote transition to the youth movement all the time. Last year, Brian Gutekunst investing heavily in skill position players in the draft, moving on from Aaron Rodgers, transitioning to Jordan Love. I mentioned earlier in the show how they didn't bring in any veteran presence in the quarterback room a year ago because they wanted Jordan Love to be the leader of this team. Turns out that worked out all right as they win a playoff game and really should have won 2 playoff games as they kind of fumbled the bag there toward the end against the San Francisco 49ers. This is an interesting move because Kenny Clark, while still young, is one of the older players on this Green Bay Packers team. He is now the only player on the Packers active roster that has signed a third contract with the team. Traditionally, and this dates back to Ted Thompson when he was the general manager. This dates obviously now with Brian Gutekunst, his several years now as the GM. Third contracts just really aren't a thing unless you are a spectacular player. And Kenny Clark, a darn good player. With this contract extension, he becomes the 10th highest paid defensive tackle in the NFL, which is pretty much the range he's always lived in, right? He's not a bona fide perennial All-Pro by any means, but he's a Pro Bowl level defensive leader, a gritty in the trenches guy, very much a disruptor, and a really good example of what it means to be a Green Bay Packer. And he will be once again the leader of this new look defensive line as they transition to the Jeff Hafley base 4-3 defense. Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, Lucas Van Essen are now technically defensive ends. But Kenny Clark is still all reliable when it comes to that defensive line. So him getting this contract is the right move. The thing that interests me the most from this move, though, is Goody earlier in the offseason saying, yeah, they probably won't touch a Kenny Clark extension until the deal with Jordan Love is done. Well, he also said they wouldn't be moving on from Aaron Jones this offseason. Guess what? Things change. Opinions change. Order of operations change. And it did here. You got to get business done. You wanted the Clark deal done by practice 1. You wanted the Love deal done by practice 1. Only one of those things happened. Now, the next line of business is obviously getting that Jordan Love deal done. Jordan Love is the biggest question mark. He was last offseason. Now this offseason is when will it get done? When will you see him on the practice field? But with Kenny Clark, if there is anybody on the Packers roster deserving of a third contract, it is Kenny Clark. He's still young. He's still durable. He's still playing at an incredibly high level. And as you hear often on ESPN Wisconsin, contracts are more based on potential, not what you have done for me. What will you do for me? Kenny Clark's still got a lot of gas left in the tank. So a 3-year extension naturally makes a ton of sense for him. That ties him to Green Bay for 4 more seasons. So Kenny Clark, it was a no-brainer. Glad they got it done. It's good news for Clark. But it just makes me wonder what the heck happened with Love. Because if you're saying you're not going to touch the Clark deal until Love has a deal signed, what happened? And my gut tells me Love is asking to be the highest paid quarterback, or Love's camp really more so, is asking for him to be the highest paid quarterback per year, over $55 million a year, which is what both Joe Burrow and earlier this offseason Trevor Lawrence from the Jacksonville Jaguars signed his extension for $55 million annually. So I would guess Love would like to be $56, $57, $58 million a year, a big signing bonus, and probably a 4 or 5 year deal. The Packers are probably more in the camp of, hey, how about $52.5, $53 million? And neither of them are budging. So now it's kind of a game of chicken. Love reported he's here. He won't practice, but he won't be fined because he's here. and we kind of just wait and see. It's a game of chicken. Who says they'll break first? Who concedes first? Who gives up leverage first? And once again, I say, I think it will happen by the end of the week, but you never know. So congrats to Kenny Clark. 3-year, $64 million extension. Ties him to Green Bay for 4 more seasons. And look, he's the anchor of this defense. So it is really good news for the Packers and Kenny Clark, who gets a big payday, and the Packers get their nose tackle for the foreseeable future locked up for the 3rd time. Not many more guys that are on this team, and I understand how young this team is, you're going to see sign a 3rd contract in Green Bay. Jordan Love will be one of them. Kenny Clark is one of them. Zach Tom may be one of them at some point, but let's remember he's still on a rookie deal. Jair might be the next one that signs a 3rd contract, depending how he plays this season. There's just not a lot of guys who sign a 3rd contract in Green Bay. I want to dive into that a little bit more because it's a fascinating concept to me. Believe it or not, I never played in the NFL. I was not nearly athletic enough to play high school football, let alone in the NFL. So let's get some NFL perspective coming up next. Brad Nortman played 6 years in the NFL, 4 with the Carolina Panthers, 2 with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He got a 2nd contract, didn't get a 3rd. Sorry, Brad. We'll dive into Brad's brain and what this means, also a little bit of the love drama. I also have some breaking news about Brad's alma mater, the Wisconsin Badgers, that we will break to him. Coming up next, it's Mr. Irrelevant, presented by Door County Distillery on ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Mr. Irrelevant with Alex Strouf. Miss any of the show? Find commercial-free podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Celebrate 42 years of tradition at Milwaukee's original house party. Join us on Milwaukee's beautiful lakefront, July 26th, 27th, and 28th for authentic German food, music, beer, and dancing. Experience the excitement of the Glockenspiel, Dachshund Culture Village, Mardi Gras Show, Trauchenschau, Sheep's Head Tournament, and much more. For more information, tickets, and admission discounts, visit GermanFest.com. Don't miss the fun. See you at GermanFest. Holla!
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
Stoughton Health encourages women over the age of 40 to schedule their annual mammogram. Stoughton Health uses 3D mammography, providing more accurate images for better, earlier breast cancer detection. And since Stoughton Health knows you want to receive your health care locally, they accept a wide variety of health care plans, including Dean Health, Quartz, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Humana, United Healthcare, and more, this month and every month. Choose Stoughton Health for your care. Stoughton Health, creating excellence together.
Join the Madison Money Guy, Christian Finfrock, for Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Get the information you need as you plan for retirement. That's Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Investment advisory services offer the Retirement Income Strategies, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side. When you see Diamond Jim, you can count on him to be on your side. Selection beyond compare with on-site repair, so you can wear your jewelry with pride. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
What is a better buying experience? Well, you're minutes away from a better buying experience at Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb. Jim Rutledge here. To me, a better buying experience is a personal experience. You're going to have the experience that you're looking for at Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb. They're going to get you in the vehicle that you need and that you want. If you're in the market for a new or new to you Chevy Silverado or Colorado, I recommend Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb. You're only minutes away from a better buying experience at Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb.
The annual Dream Big Gala is here, the celebration benefiting big brothers, big sisters of Dane County. Celebrate the power of mentoring at this year's gala on Friday, July 26th at Madison Marriott West. Take a journey through Wonderland as we celebrate mentorship in our community. Join us for a cocktail reception, raffles, whimsical dinner program, and live and silent auctions. Get your tickets now for the 2024 Dream Big Gala at bbbsmadison.org and celebrate mentoring in our community with big brothers, big sisters of Dane County.
After a serious accident, you'll need a winning team to protect your rights. Trust Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices, proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
On the air, on demand, on social, on Wisconsin Sports. Serving Wisconsin sports fans. This is 100.5 ESPN.
Heads Carolina, tails California, somewhere greener, somewhere warmer, up in the mountains, down by the ocean, where it don't matter, long as we're going somewhere together. I've got a quarter. Heads Carolina, tails California. We can load what we own in the back of a U-Haul van.
Mr. Irrelevant rolls on live with you until 2 o'clock here on ESPN Wisconsin. I'm Alex Strouf with you from the Tundra Trio houses in beautiful Green Bay. Great day for the NFL season to begin as practice one in the books here at training camp for the Green Bay Packers. Joining me now, you hear him each and every weekday afternoon from, well, most in the summer, from 2 to 5 p.m. on Kyle Bruston Nortman. He is the Nortman of that equation. Brad Nortman, the former Wisconsin Badger, the 6-year NFL vet, joins me now. Bradley, good to see you.
Good to be here. Man, I'll tell you what, being in Green Bay, started training camp, it brings back just different feels. It really does. I love being here, and thanks for having me on.
So, a couple things I want to get to quick. Number one, Gabe Neitzel from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, weekday 7 to 9 on ESPN Milwaukee, said this is not the start of football season. Please tell him he's wrong.
He's wrong. He's absolutely wrong. Maybe it's just the player conditioning in me, but the first day of training camp, it officially turns the page from football season, maybe not the end of summer, but you're certainly in the twilight of summer. But football season starts today. If you see guys with helmets on a field playing, anything that looks like has any sort of level of official feel to it, that means football season starts, and I'm glad it's finally here.
So big men on little bikes is your indication.
That is one unmistakable sign that football season is finally here.
Are you jealous you never got to do that, ride a bike to practice? Because that's one of the most unique traditions in the entire NFL, and obviously they didn't do that in Carolina and Jacksonville.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Each organization has tried to take that and make it their own. So in Carolina, what we would do is they would select like 10 kids from the stands, and then they would pull a couple of players, and it would change based on the day, and then the kid would put on your shoulder pads and helmet. Like that, and then you'd walk in with them. Like that was their version of incorporating kids and helping them feel like they're engaged in the practice and a part of it. And like it was cool, and the kids loved putting the helmet on and the shoulder pads, and they're mostly just getting like dragged down by it though.
Right.
So I don't know. I think that there is something so unique about the bike riding tradition. That's why it stood the test of time, and there's so many great pictures and videos from it. I forgot what we even did in Jacksonville. It was something similar. Kids selected, and I think like. It was actually very similar to Carolina. I mean, those two franchises established the same year, the whole thing.
Right.
They're too similar together. So it's I love to see it. I'm a little jealous I never did it. Honestly, too, I played here once. Would have loved to have played here longer. There's something special about Lambeau Field.
No doubt about it. One of the most historic buildings in all of North American professional sports. Can't argue with that. Speaking of a historic venue, Camp Randall Stadium, pretty historic. I have some breaking news about Camp Randall for you.
Oh.
Alcohol will be sold at Camp Randall beginning this season.
This season?
Well, I think it's kind of dope.
That's Ron Dane saying he thinks it's kind of dope.
I like that. Do we know specifically what kind of alcohol? Are we talking beer and wine, like a wedding reception?
Beer and wine, yeah.
Okay.
Just like they had at the Kohl Center this past year. So seltzers and beer and whatnot. So you won't get too blasted, but they had it at the Kohl Center last year. They had it, I believe, in the field house as well, but they did not put it in Camp Randall. This year will be the first year at your alma mater where people will be boozing legally in the stadium. This is great news.
I think it's great news. I think this is long overdue. I know the SEC stadiums have done this for a long time, and I guess I understand why you don't want to create like an official alcohol-centric culture. But let's be honest, it already is. It
bro.
already is, and this is going to get in the way of people that are trying to sneak in stuff, and maybe people will actually pace themselves out more, like students beforehand.
I doubt that. Yeah,
Well,
let's not give them too much
too
credit.
optimistic.
I understand Wisconsin's a prestigious university, but drunk kids on Saturday afternoons aren't that smart.
I think it's going to make the atmosphere in Camp Randall even better. I'm sure they're going to price it in a premium level, so it's going to like keep the college kids from going too overboard. But I think this is just all a part of continuing to make it a unique experience, and hopefully it keeps people in the building while the product on the field catches up a little bit. Because let's be honest, it hasn't been a whole lot of fun to watch the last couple of years.
No, it hasn't been, but they're on the right trajectory, just like the Green Bay Packers with their youth movement winning a playoff game a year ago. The big news over the weekend, Brad, aside from the Jordan Love stuff, which we can get to in a second, but I want to start with the Kenny Clark signing, which was announced yesterday. 3-year, $64 million extension for the Packers star nose tackle. Third contracts are really rare, especially in Green Bay. So for Clark to achieve that, A, and B, for the Packers to sign a player to a third contract, I think tells you all you need to know about a guy like Kenny Clark.
Yeah, it does. They're rare. They're incredibly rare for the Green Bay Packers, a third contract, but they're rare for the NFL in general. There's a stat out there that it's something like 3% of NFL players make it to year 12. Okay, and that sounds obvious.
Yep.
So that's basically putting it like one guy per team. One guy per team makes it to year 12. Those are usually quarterbacks and specialists. Not this specialist, but most other specialists and quarterbacks, if you're going to get to year 12, that's it. So it's so rare for a guy to get a third contract. And you got to ask yourselves why. There's two reasons why. When you get to that third contract, you're probably in your 30s or close to it. Kenny Clark is a bit of an anomaly because he started so young. But when the guy signs his third contract, you're concerned about two things. Is he mentally engaged, and is he physically capable? Mentally engaged because, look, he's already made his money, and he probably has other life priorities now. If you're talking 30-plus years old, you probably have wife and kids. Mm-hmm. You're thinking more about life outside of football, and some of your other boxes are already checked. So are you mentally engaged, and are you physically capable? I mean, playing 8 years, which are most people's, like 8 in the back pocket already, going on year 9 and then double digits, the physical toll on that is really hard to describe. I mean, it's really hard to describe. A guy like Brian Balaga that played, I believe, 10 years, and Tausch played 10. Like, those guys can comment on it. But to expect, then, that a guy in year 9, 10, 11, 12 can get you the value that will support that high contract, that's just a very rare situation. I think Kenny Clark is one of those rare guys that can do it because he is still young. And so from a physical capability standpoint, he's young, he's stayed in shape, and he's stayed healthy. So I think he's okay there. And the mental engagement part of it, you just have to have that dog in you. I mean, you either have it or you don't. It becomes really clear who the guys are that play football because they love it and they're competitive nuts, or they're just trying to get paid. And that really comes out in the second, particularly third contract. Because if you're not motivated by love of the game, you're not motivated by competition, why would you do all the things that it's going to take to be great?
Totally.
And to that third contract level, you have to be great, being paid what a third contract usually gives you. So that's why it's so rare. And I think it's the right decision by the Green Bay Packers. They are clearly investing in this defense. Goody, the organization, believes in the players on this defense, and they believe that Kenny Clark, what this is telling me, is that they believe that he is going to be effective in this new defense. If they didn't think that he was going to be effective in it and dominating in this 3-4, they wouldn't have done this. But they clearly believe that he is comfortable, he is suitable for it, and it's going to be on Jeff Hafley to make sure that he is worthy of the contract he just received.
So what you just said fascinates me, right? Like the confidence level of what he's able to accomplish in this new defense under new defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley. How do we know that? Right? Like, I understand they've seen it in practice. They understand the fundamentals of the scheme, but we haven't seen it in action yet. Kenny Clark hasn't played against – he hasn't even had a joint practice against another team yet. I think your point on it is correct. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done it. But how do you really know it's going to work well, A, for Kenny Clark, and B, work well overall?
Well, this is one of the areas where it's so strange that the Packers have this front office coaching silo environment, because most organizations – a new coach might come in. Let's say it's Jeff Hafley in this organization.
Yep.
I'm guessing they would normally have really robust conversations with Goody and say, look, we love this guy. He fits our scheme perfectly. We've seen him for 5 years. We're going to put him here. He's going to do this. His skill set fits it perfectly, so we got to have him. This guy, he doesn't really match what we're trying to do, so maybe we move on from him. Those dialogues are really helpful, and that's usually really helpful in cultivating your roster. Now, that just depends. Is Goody entering and knocking on the door of Jeff Hafley or vice versa to have a good conversation of, like, this is the guy I need? I don't think it's a surprise that Jeff Hafley went up there on the podium and said, we need Iron Man, we need Superman at safety, and the Packers went out and got Superman at safety in Xavier McKinney. So I do believe that maybe those dialogues are happening at a greater level. I think Goody is still completely independent. I think he's doing what he wants, and he's maybe taking more feedback from Jeff Hafley, because clearly there was a personnel and coaching conflict these last couple of years. It was not meshing how it was supposed to mesh. So I'm actually under the belief that Goody has more of an open ear to hear, who do you like, who do you not like, what do you need? What do you need to make this defense great? And then he goes back to the lab, figures out how to make that happen.
Really well said. Brad Nortman with us here on Mr. Relevant. I'm Alex Strouf with you from Green Bay, reacting to all things from practice number 1 in training camp for the Green Bay Packers. The big story of the day, Brad, we've kind of buried the lead here, classic broadcast style. Jordan Love did not participate in practice today. His camp telling the Packers over the weekend that until a deal is done, he will not be practicing. He's here, though, wearing a long-sleeve T-shirt, bold choice in 80-degree weather, and at practice with the guys, just not wearing a jersey or a helmet. You talked about it on Friday on Kyle Bruston Nortman. You pretty much said, hey, I see they're bringing in Jake Fromm for a tryout. This tells me they're skeptical whether or not he'll be practicing come Monday. I think we would agree. This is the right choice for Love. It's interesting it's gotten this far.
It is the right choice for Love. It probably took a lot of courage to make it. I think it was important that Goody in his press conference said Jordan Love's camp, Jordan Love's agents basically said he's not practicing until. So it deflects a little bit of the blame from Jordan himself. So I think that was an important note. But to me, I just look at this and think, I don't want to use this term too strongly. It's a little embarrassing. It's a little embarrassing. Not for Jordan Love, for the organization, for Goody. They could iron out the Kenny Clark details, but we can't iron out the Jordan Love. I mean,
let me cut you off real quick, because I think that's fascinating. I talked about it earlier. They said, or Goody said earlier in the offseason, we're not touching the Clark deal until the Love deal's done. And now, obviously, that happened before the Love deal was done. So embarrassing is an interesting word.
So embarrassing because this date was not a surprise to anybody. It's not like it's, oh my gosh, training camp's all of a sudden here. Well, yeah, time flew by. They've had 2.5 months to iron this out. They've received no new data, no new details, except for new quarterbacks in Jared Goff and Trevor Lawrence getting their deals, maybe rising the amount for Jordan Love a little bit, but it's not like this came as a surprise. So the fact that it didn't get done before a very real and a very clear deadline in training camp opening, it's a little embarrassing to me. And I think that it's not going to get in the way of anything. Jordan Love's going to sign. It's going to be a very wealthy contract. And I would guess in a week or two, he's going to be on the practice field and they're going to put this behind him. But it's sort of a blemish. It's sort of a blemish on a year that's supposed to be full of optimism, full of excitement, full of up and to the right trends. And you got your quarterback in sweats and, arms folded out there. And it's a bad look for me. And not for Jordan Love. It's a bad look for Goody that we couldn't just dial it in. Let's say this time next week. Yep. Okay, this time on Monday. Deal is signed and he's out there. So what? We couldn't fast forward talks by a week and avoid this completely to where training camp, day one, you open up, full squad, full strength, leader on board, suited up. Like, we couldn't do that 1 week earlier. Just doesn't make any sense to me. The fact that it had to get to where, you had the nope guy at Jordan Love's camp say, we're not talking about contracts. They bring in a quarterback for a workout, and then Jordan Love has to call on Saturday night, 36 hours before the first practice, saying, I'm not practicing. Like, that tells me they took it to the 12th hour to be able to iron out some details, but they're not ironed out.
Well, we're now in about the 14th hour as practice one is in the books, Brad. It's a really good point by you. And, look, I think I said earlier, Jordan Love kind of got handed the handbook of what not to do written by Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yeah.
Just to avoid all public, whatever it is, bad looks, blemishes, use. I don't view this as Jordan Love's fault at all, right? Like, what he's proven, and B, what the quarterback market is for a guy who's so young and has shown so much promise, it should be a no-brainer to sign him to a $56 million a year deal. Cap's only going up. You're the youngest team in the league. You have the least expensive offense in the NFL for this season as it stands right now prior to the Love deal. Giving that man his money it seems like the easiest thing in the world to me.
Well, I think that people push back on, wait, why are we making him the most paid quarterback in the NFL? People just need to realize that the quarterback market is different from every other market. For instance, you've got Kenny Clark that just signed a brand new deal. They didn't make him the highest paid defensive lineman.
10th. Yeah,
10th. And,
for tackles.
Yeah, and Rashawn Gary, when they signed him last September to an extension, he wasn't the highest paid D-end. It's not the same. And in fact, I think they were making like $10 million less than the guy that is the highest paid, which is significant. So I think people just need to realize, and Goody and the entire front office knows this, the quarterback market is just different. That's how valuable it is. That's how much it moves the needle to your team. And that is just the way it's done, is when you find that franchise quarterback and when you invite him to prove it on a prove-it deal and he proves it, you have to be ready to then do this, which is sign him to a long-term extension. I would just love to have seen it be clean and crisp and not have Jordan Love in sweats on the first day of practice.
Yeah, the last guy who did that, quote-unquote, on a prove-it deal, it doesn't look as pretty as it – well, it never really looked that pretty, but he got paid. That's Daniel Jones in New York, right? I mean, he got his $40 million payday after winning a playoff game a couple of years ago. He was hurt and not very good when he played last year. Tommy DeVito took over in New York. Taking all the attention, like Lynn Sanity 2.0, to go back to the Jeremy Lin days on the Knicks. I just think when it comes to Love, you're confident he's better than Daniel Jones.
Yeah, your eyes and stats tell you that.
Totally. And you look across the league. You mentioned the two names that have signed this offseason, Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence. They got $53.5 and $55 million deals per year. Why would you not throw Jordan Love's name in the same category as Jared Goff and Trevor Lawrence? That's the part that makes no sense to me, why it has taken so long. Unless Love's camp is saying, hey, we want $65 million a year, I just think it's ridiculous it's not done yet.
I totally agree. I just wish that this would start off on a drama-free environment and avoiding what Favre and Rodgers did more toward the end of their career. And I don't think Love is a drama guy. It's one of those things that you look back and you just say, this should have went quicker, cleaner, easier, and now you're paying the price with it. It's just a bad look. I don't think it's going to affect the team. I don't think it's going to change how many games they win or lose or Jordan Love's performance. It's just a bad look. And I view the Green Bay Packers as a very smart and capable and thoughtful organization. And I don't think they're going to, by holding out one more week, I don't think they're going to get a better deal on a contract. You're better off to just make it clean, crisp, and make it show that, you know what, Jordan Love's our guy. The future is here. Let's all be excited.
Couldn't you make the argument that from the Packers' perspective, it'll only become a quote-unquote worse deal?
Yeah, I mean,
he'll be more expensive?
What if between now – I mean, there's been very little talk about Tua and Dak. Mm-hmm. What if Dak signs? What if Dak signs tomorrow? I mean, think about that for the Green Bay Packers.
That'd be problematic.
It'd be incredibly problematic. So I think waiting does the Green Bay Packers no service. I would guess and venture that most people just want Jordan Love signed, get this done with. And I place blame on Goody and the Green Bay Packers for not being able to iron this out before this very specific, very clear deadline.
Brad Nortman, you hear him each and every weekday, 2 to 5. Kyle Bruston Nortman, he is the 6-year NFL veteran. Well, now retired veteran, I guess, is how that works. But nonetheless, we are lucky enough to hear him each and every weekday on our airwaves with great perspective on the Jordan Love deal, the Kenny Clark deal, and everything in between. Bradley, appreciate the time, buddy. We'll be listening to you at 2 o'clock.
Thanks for having me on, Mode.
I want to hear this from you. 844-770-3776. I want you to text in one word that describes your feelings on Jordan Love not practicing today. Anxious, nervous, okay. Give me one word, and you can describe why you feel that way. But I want one word to describe your feelings. I'm going to have Hunter go through some of the answers coming up in a bit here on Mr. Relevant, presented by Door County Distillery on ESPN Wisconsin. 844-770-3776. One word to describe your feelings on Jordan Love not practicing in training camp practice, number one for the Green Bay Packers. Hunter and I will answer that question coming up next. It's Mr. Relevant, presented by Door County Distillery right here on ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Mystery Relevant with Alex Strouf. Miss any of the show? Find commercial-free podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute.
Varsity on Wisconsin On Demand is home to all the latest and best Badgers content on ESPN Wisconsin. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Wisconsin On Demand, and wherever you get your podcasts.
In with your Badger Minute, I'm Alex Gravatt. ESPN released their top 25 college football stadiums on Thursday, and the Wisconsin Badgers' Camp Randall ranked higher than you might think. ESPN writers cited historic relevance of the Wisconsin State Fairgrounds before the Civil War, the training grounds for Union soldiers during it, and they also noted the recent fun traditions like playing jump around between the third and fourth quarters. All of that added up to Camp Randall claiming the honor of 8th best college football stadium in the country. The Badgers land just one spot behind Ohio State and 5th in the Big Ten.
Order today from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and pay as low as $18 per window and $81 per patio door per month. Visit PellaWI.com.
Step into nostalgia with the Miller High Life Dive Bar of the Week. Listen to Jim, Matt, and Molly every Thursday to find out where you can enjoy $2 Miller High Lifes. To celebrate our love for dive bars, we are going to tell you about some of our favorites, featuring one extra special dive bar that will have $2 High Lifes on special for the week. Taste the champagne of beer in its natural environment. A delightfully different dive bar in Wisconsin like the Keg in DeForest, Cahoots, Pitcher's Pub, and Baldwin Street Grill.
We shopped at Chalmers because my husband wanted to get me a larger diamond in my engagement ring.
The folks at Chalmers said, well, we could just make it like this and we could do these things. Really just basically decided that there wasn't any place else we wanted to shop.
And not only did they create this new engagement ring for me with this gorgeous center stone, they also rehabbed this other ring, and I am beyond pleased.
Her favorite thing to do now is to walk around and show her hands and have people comment on it.
You know Fleet Farm's got everything for everyday life. But did you know we also have the best prices guaranteed every day? Like 40 pounds of Diamond Crystal Softener Salt, on sale now for just $5.69. Or a 40-pound bag of Black Oil Sunflower Seed, on sale for $17.49. And on the odd day you find a lower price, we'll match it. Any day, every day. Fleet Farm's got everything you need for everyday life, all at the best prices. Guaranteed.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Tired of wasting your money on testosterone booster products that just don't work? We don't blame you. That's why Nugenix Total T lets you try before you buy. Just text BACK to 369-369 to claim your complimentary sample. Why have millions of men already trusted Nugenix for a man-boosting increase in their testosterone levels? Well, nothing else is like it. It contains Tesnor, a key ingredient shown to work. Nugenix Total T boosts free and total testosterone levels to help you feel better at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand and #1 at GNC and #1 at Walmart. But don't take our word for it. Try before you buy. If it works, keep using it. If not, keep the sample. You've got nothing to lose, but you could gain energy, muscle drive, even more passion. Text BACK to 369-369. Do it now, and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text BACK to 369-369.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Play where the Badgers play and enjoy a round at University Ridge Golf Course, the official course of the University of Wisconsin and host of the annual AmFam Championship. It's easy to see why University Ridge is consistently rated among the best public courses in Wisconsin. Whether it's a tournament, a corporate event, or just a golf outing with family and friends, University Ridge will make sure that you have an enjoyable golf experience from start to finish. Book your tee time today at universityridge.com. That's universityridge.com.
Watch every ESPN Madison show live every day. Subscribe to ESPN Madison on YouTube for live video of every show and exclusive content. Just search ESPN Madison.
Mr. Relevant, presented by Door County Distillery, rolls on live with you until 2 o'clock, just outside of Lambeau Field. You can watch live, ESPN Madison, ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. And, of course, listen live, 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam. Beautiful day here in Green Bay as the first training camp practice of the NFL season is in the books for the Green Bay Packers. I'm Alex Strouf with you. Producer Tiny Hands, Hunter Vaughn, is with you back at the Everlight Solar Studio in beautiful downtown Madison. Hunter, I want to do a one-word game because Jordan Love is holding in for training camp, at least to start, as the deal, the impending contract extension we've been talking about for what feels like about 17 years, has not gotten signed yet. Whether or not Jordan Love will be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, we don't know. Whether or not he will be a 4-year or 5-year deal or how much this, we don't know any of it. We assume it's close, but clearly not close enough, as Jordan Love does not practice in practice number 1 for the Green Bay Packers. He's here. He was at practice in sweats and a long-sleeve shirt, but he did not practice. I want to hear from you on this, 844-770-3776. Give me one word to describe your feelings as we have yet another dramatic quarterback story going on here in Green Bay. It just feels like we can't get away from it, can we? And I'm not calling Jordan Love dramatic. I think Jordan Love is a bona fide leader. I think he is everything you would want in a franchise quarterback. And in fact, I think he's making the right decision. When there was that much money on the line, right? The rumors we heard over the weekend, $75, maybe $80 million guaranteed on a signing bonus. When there's that much money on the line, don't you dare put on cleats. Don't you dare put on a helmet until you sign that dotted line. Hunter, what's the text line saying? One word to describe your feelings on Jordan Love holding in.
Yeah, we have a couple of responses. First from Greg and Franklin, just greedy.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. And Chef Ed also chiming in, surprised, and he adds, I didn't think that he had the demeanor to hold out. I mean, if we want to get semantics, Chef Ed, he's holding in because he was still there.
Way to hit him with semantics, Hunter. So both of those responses are interesting to me. Greg says greedy. Chef Ed says surprised. You shouldn't be surprised that he's holding in or out or not practicing, however you want to look at it, right? Whatever term we want to use. The matter of the fact is, I don't think it's up to Jordan Love. Because I think if it was up to Jordan Love would have practiced today. Jordan Love is too selfless and too good of a teammate and a million other words to describe to do this. So when it comes to the greediness, let me say this to you, Greg, in Franklin. Greg, if you worked a job where you were offered I'm going to make it real people money, not NFL money. If they said, hey, as long as you meet this requirement, we're going to give you $10,000 bonus. But in order to get this $10,000 bonus, you have to sign this piece of paper that says X, right? So, Greg, in order to get your $10,000 bonus, you have to climb a rock wall, right? You got to climb all the way to the top of the rock wall and click the red button. But if you fall off the rock wall and break your right ribs, no $10,000 bonus for you. Or, hey, Greg, if you try to climb the rock wall, we'll give you $10,000. Right? That's kind of the negotiation we're having. I know that's an extremely strange analogy from the brain of Alex Strouf. Hunter, can you tell me how I did on that analogy real quick? I don't know if I landed the plane there.
Not one of your better ones. I mean, okay. I would have just gone with, you're working a job and they're like, you know what? We are going to talk about the idea of doubling your pay because Jordan Love's going to get more than double what he's going to get.
Better.
But then you have the opportunity to go skydiving. Like, I'm not going to go skydiving. If I have a chance to double my pay right now, I'm not going to do anything to put that in jeopardy. And that's what it is for Jordan Love, especially after I said it last week on the podcast, was that Teddy Bridgewater destroyed his knee. He was never 100%. The same player in a
Alex
practice.
Smith.
Yeah. Like, you cannot take that chance ever if you're a quarterback. Until you get that money and you get the guaranteed money, you have to sit out. Like, that's why I don't understand the dislike for this as a fan. Like, I get that it's annoying, but at the same time, you have to understand that they need to think about their futures. And when you're talking about that amount of money
it's
for any
generational
person,
wealth. It's generational
you
wealth.
need to protect yourself.
So I get the point greedy, and I imagine the way Greg is coming from, right, is that the amount of money we are discussing is not an amount of money any of us will ever see in our lives. Because we're not NFL quarterbacks, and we're not star small forwards in the NBA. We are talking about millions and hundreds of millions of dollars here. And in the off chance, God forbid, that Jordan Love practiced today, and he tears his ACL, goodbye to generational wealth. or he pops the Achilles like Kirk Cousins did last year, even though he still got paid pretty nicely this offseason. You can't take that chance. And I understand the amount of money we are talking about. It is absurd. It is not a amount of money any of us will ever make. But it's realistic for Jordan Love. And when you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, including a signing bonus of something towards $100 million, you can't risk anything. So I think if it was up to Jordan Love, he would have practiced today. But why you have agents and why you have camps and why you have teams, so they can tell you, hey, you should probably sit this one out. Keep those one words rolling, and we'll continue to react to the fact Jordan Love sat out. We'll play a game of quick hits as well coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. It's Mr. Irrelevant presented by Door County Distillery. If you're not familiar with us, we do this 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, live on ESPN Madison and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube as well, available for podcast consumption. Whether you're an Apple Podcast person, you're a Spotify person, however you get your podcast, that's where you can find Mr. Irrelevant. Today we are live in Green Bay. Wednesday we will be live in Indianapolis. I'm driving to Indianapolis about 2 a.m. tonight/tomorrow morning for Big Ten Media Days. The Wisconsin Badgers head coach Luke Fickell will be available to the media tomorrow in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium. So today I am representing the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. Tomorrow I will be, and Wednesday I will be sitting in Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. So a lot of fun stuff to come later this week on Mr. Irrelevant, which you can find wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Just search Mr. Irrelevant. It will be the first result that pops up. We appreciate if you subscribe, hit a 5-star review, and hang out with us. We do it 3 times a week, about 1 hour each episode, and we talk all things Wisconsin sports, whether that's the Green Bay Packers, which we talk about a lot. We also do some Brewers talk, some Bucks talk, Wisconsin Badgers, Marquette. We do all things Wisconsin sports. We're the best in the state when it comes to covering all of our teams. So make sure you check it out if this is your first time hearing from us. All right, more Jordan Love reaction coming up next. It's Mr. Irrelevant, presented by Door County Distillery, right here on ESPN Wisconsin.
Hey, it's Alex Strouf. Stay in the know on area high school sports and follow ESPN Madison on Twitter for Prep Mania on Deck, each week's preview of the top games and events. Prep Mania on Deck is brought to you by Zimbrick Honda, a proud supporter of high school sports and local communities.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
You're gonna feel a puff of air.
Jong's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell our 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, I'm Madison Money Guy, Christian Finfrock with Retirement Income Strategies. And what sets us apart is we're an independent, family-run office. We help clients like you understand the financial world and build a portfolio that's in your best interest. To learn more, go to MadisonMoneyGuy.com.
Grab a Coke and grab some cash with the Coca-Cola Summer Cash Grab, only from Quick Trip. Play daily in your Quick Rewards app for a chance to win up to $250,000. Earn extra chances to enter by purchasing any qualified Coke, Monster Energy, Powerade, Body Armor, Smart Water, or Core Power Elite products with Quick Rewards. Summer just got a whole lot cooler with Quick Trip and Coca-Cola. No purchase necessary. See QuickTrip.com/sweepstakes for details.
This is former Wisconsin linebacker Chris Orr. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison, a Good Karma Brands radio station on Wisconsin.
The hottest topics of the day.
I'm saying, like, there's legitimate going to be rifts between Love and the organization, Aaron Rodgers style, if we get that far. And rightfully so.
Done the only way Stroufy knows how.
God forbid, right? You know, he gets injured while skydiving right before training camp. That would be so bad. Loving football in the YouTube chat. Jair is the most non-Packery Packer, and I'm still here for it. Yeah. Jair.
This is Mr. Irrelevant with Alex Strouf on ESPN Wisconsin and streaming live at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. Broadcasting live from the Tundra Trio in Green Bay for Packers training camp. Here's Alex Strouf.
Hour 2, a special edition of Mr. Irrelevant, presented by Door County Distillery, live from my hometown. They let me back. Beautiful Green Bay. Day 1 of training camp for the Green Bay Packers is in the books, about an hour and a half long practice. You got your first look, right? Like, you're not going to have these ginormous takeaways from training camp practice number 1, but you got your first look as a fan, as some of these rookies. And I was over there only for about a half an hour. I was like the fence. The fence birds, I think is what they call them here at training camp. I was lined up against the fence and right in front of one of the local bars here, Green Bay Distillery. And we were seeing the first team defense. And, some of the interesting takeaways for me was obviously they kind of had the base defense out there. So 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, 4 defensive backs. And there was 3 surprising takeaways, maybe not surprising, but takeaways that are worth noting if you're really deep into the Packers like I am. Number 1, Edgerrin Cooper, Isaiah McDuffie, and Quay Walker were your 3 linebackers. So your second-round pick, Edgerrin Cooper, the linebacker, and Isaiah McDuffie both out there. Javon Bullard was the starting safety alongside Xavier McKinney. And as Packers fans, first time you get to see Xavier McKinney and Josh Jacobs, the offseason signings. And the third one, Eric Stokes was the other cornerback opposite of Jair Alexander. Carrington Valentine did sub in for him as the first-team defense was still out there. But Eric Stokes getting the first crack at the first-team offense, which was led today by quarterback Sean Clifford. No Jordan Love in practice today. Not a dog. Somebody told me, Hunter, I was walking down the street today, and a nice older woman pulls me aside. She said, "You're very handsome. You look like Sean Clifford." And I said, "I appreciate that, but I don't think that's accurate. Like, I don't think I look anything like Sean Clifford. But thank you for calling me handsome. I will move on my merry way." Hunter, do I look anything like the former Penn State quarterback, Sean Clifford? I don't think I look anything like him.
See, my first thought was that was your mom just being nice to you, and you wanted to turn that into a radio story to make yourself sound good.
No, my mom is not here, as far as I'm aware. Nice older woman. We were doing some fan reaction earlier today when the Jordan Love news came out. We were walking around and interviewing some fans. You can find some of those clips on Twitter at ESPN Milwaukee, just getting a reaction. And the common reaction amongst fans, and I'm curious to hear from you, 844-770-3776, is your way into Mr. Irrelevant, presented by Door County Distillery. We're asking one word to describe Jordan Love's hold-in, which is ongoing right now. The shareholders meeting coming up 3:30, so about 2 hours from now, in the bowl at Lambeau Field. For I heard this today. Mark Murphy was making some rounds, doing some interviews, and I was listening to one on a podcast on my way in. Did you know, Hunter, there are 530,000 shareholders? The Packers have sold 530,000 shares. So there are over 500,000 owners of the Green Bay Packers, technically. I am not one of them. But
don't act like you're not impressed.
That is an incredible number. I didn't realize it was that many. So anyway, I learned something new today.
And you couldn't save that for the end when we literally do a segment called What We Learned? You had to take that right now when we're at a 111 instead of waiting until 154.
Yeah, I think I spoiled it. So anyway, but the consensus, my point here is we were talking to fans ahead of practice about 9:30 this morning as the AmFam Dream Drive was going on. Fans were all pretty cool, calm, collected. No worries. They'll get it done. He's the face of our franchise. They'll get it done. He's making the right choice. And I think, I don't even think there should be a debate whether or not it's the right choice. Of Jordan Love holding in, right? He's here. He's reporting. He won't be fined. He's a part of the team. He's doing, he's there. He's talking to the running backs about the offense. He's coaching them up a little bit even during training camp practice number 1. He just wasn't practicing. And I don't have an issue with that. When I will have an issue with that is next week. If the deal doesn't get done by Friday, and you heard it in the open there, which was masterfully put together by executive producer Ashton Rotman, where I said it's not an Aaron Rodgers-like riff, right? Like I don't feel like there's a real gripe between Jordan Love and the Packers yet. I think this is just business. Now, Brad Nortman, who joined us at 12:30, if you missed any of that conversation, find it in the Mr. Irrelevant podcast feed. He made a good point, and that was, what the hell have they been doing for the last 2.5 months, right? And we all understand the number has gone up because Jared Goff signed for $53.5 million a year. Trevor Lawrence signed for $55 million a year this offseason. Those are deals that got done. But Jordan Love was eligible for an extension May 3rd. And legally, they could have negotiated from the day the season ended in Santa Clara against the 49ers until May 3rd about what that next contract will look like. And here we are on July 22nd, and there's still not a deal done. So I'm not worried about it. I don't think Jordan Love and the Packers will have a real issue or have a real problem, going forward. It's just, why is this taking so long? This ain't rocket science. This isn't brain surgery. Hand him a blank check and sign it. If you believe you have a franchise quarterback in the NFL, you pay him like a franchise quarterback in the NFL. And what this offseason has told us is less accomplished quarterbacks are getting signed for that much money. Now, Jared Goff is more accomplished. He's played in 2 NFC championship games. He's won 1. He's lost in the Super Bowl. Trevor Lawrence has won as many playoff games. That total meltdown by the Chargers a few years ago, where the Jaguars came back and beat them. But other than that, what's Trevor Lawrence done that's more impressive than Jordan Love's 1 season as a starter? I'll wait. I will field any answers. To me, I think it's a no-brainer. Jordan Love should be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Hand him a blank check and sign it if you are the Green Bay Packers. That is that. That is that. Mr. Irrelevant is presented by Door County Distillery, locally produced, handcrafted, and award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County, just north of where we are today in Green Bay. If you're heading up to Door County for a little weekend getaway or maybe weekday getaway, you got to stop in at Door County Distillery, located in Carlsville. They've got tours, they've got tastings, and they've got exclusive product you can't find in store at the stop in Door County Distillery in Carlsville. But if you're not in Carlsville, if you're in Madison, if you're in Milwaukee, if you're in Beaver Dam, bring Door County to you, baby. Check out their website, doorcountydistillery.com, to find the retailer nearest you, whether it's that classic green bottle of gin, the beautiful sky blue bottle of Door County vodka. We've also got the specialties, right? The cherry brandy. Had a cherry brandy old-fashioned over the weekend. Oh, baby, was that good. Cherry brandy, cherry vodka, made with local Door County cherries. I'm a whiskey guy. The single malt whiskey that Door County Distillery produces, 27-time gold medal award winner. 27 gold medals. We've got a gold medalist on ESPN Madison from 4 to 6. He's won 1 gold medal. Door County Distillery, they've won 27 of them. They've also got a great bourbon, great rye whiskey as well, if that's your cup of tea. Whatever it is, they do it better. They do it best. It's affordable, and it's local. How can you go wrong? DoorCountyDistillery.com to check that out. Your second opportunity to get in on the ESPN Wisconsin Fantasy Football League. Drafting August 1st at Dave & Buster's in Wauwatosa is coming up next. We will also, I'll give you some observations from my day in Green Bay today. Some wacky ones, some fun ones, and all the in-betweens, including some football observations. That's all still ahead. It's Mr. Irrelevant, presented by Door County Distillery, with you until 2 o'clock right here on ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Mr. Irrelevant with Alex Strouf. Miss any of the show? Find commercial-free podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Julie, you've been here at Pasquale's for a while. What comes to mind when you think of Pasquale's Cantina?
Fun, fresh, local, and the best margaritas in town.
Ah, yes, and that's because we have the largest tequila selection in Madison and the surrounding area. For me, I love that we're Madison's favorite friends and family gathering spot.
That's because of our great customers who have followed Pasquale's over the years. So for me, it's our guests that make Pasquale's Cantina.
Bringing the flavors of the Southwest to the Midwest. Pasquale's Cantina.
Oh, hey, I'm guessing the smell of me grilling out caught your attention? And what is that amazing smell, you ask? Well, it's our fresh from the Quickery brats I'm grilling up. Wait, brats from Quick Trip? Yeah, you betcha. And you too can be a summertime summoner just by stopping by your nearest Quick Trip and picking up a 5-pack for just $2.99. And when you're asked, what's that amazing smell? Tell them they're brats for $2.99, only from Quick Trip.
Bikers need protection, not just from other drivers, but unfortunately from insurance companies too. If you've been injured in a motorcycle crash, call Gruber Law Offices today. Bikers are often blamed for causing the accident because the insurance companies simply don't want to pay. At Gruber Law Offices, we've been fighting for injured bikers and their families for more than 30 years. Trust us to fight for what you deserve. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
With the incredibly spacious 3-row Chevy Traverse, you can change
Let's just meet at the concert.
into
Why don't I pick all you guys up on the way?
the advanced safety engineered Chevy Blazer EV lets you turn. You think we should turn back? Into full steam ahead. And with the affordable Equinox EV,
Keep an eye out for the next Charger, kids.
becomes
Get comfortable, kids. We'll be home in 4 hours.
for summer adventures, Chevy's got you. See your Badgerland Chevy dealer today.
If you're looking for a new couch, you could cut down on expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive. Because you know you've had this couch for too long. Sure, you've had good times together, but a ripped-up cushion is not a fond memory. It's a sign. Notice how other people have couches with 2 armrests? Now that's living, right? No, it's just normal. So bundle your renters and car insurance with Progressive and put the savings toward a new couch. Please, it's time. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided in service by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
Are you ready to build your company's dream team? Just like in sports, finding skilled players is essential for success. With Robert Half's winning combination of specialized recruiting professionals and award-winning AI, we'll help you find the MVPs and key role players who will have you hanging banners in the rafters. Because in business, it's all about having the experienced team on your side. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
The ESPN Madison Open, presented by Coors Light, is back. On Monday, August 5th, the ESPN Madison crew is packing their bags and teeing off at Bishops Bay Country Club for a day on the links. The ESPN Madison Open is benefiting Miracle League of Dane County and is brought to you by Bishops Bay Country Club, The Tasting Room, Incredible Bank, Celebrations Entertainment, Hush Blackwell, and Vortex Optics. Thank you for making a difference in our community.
Hey, it's Alex Strouf for my great friends at Door County Distillery. Locally produced, handcrafted, and award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County. Whether you've got a summer gathering, party, tailgate going on, do it best with Door County Distillery. It can be that cherry vodka made with local Door County cherries, that classic green bottle of gin, the multiple-time award-winning single malt whiskey, or any of the in-betweens. Visit DoorCountyDistillery.com to find the retailer nearest you, as well as a huge list of unique cocktail recipes. That's DoorCountyDistillery.com.
Like, share, and follow ESPN Madison everywhere. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok for more great content from ESPN Madison. This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
What if I'm far from home? Oh, brother, I will hear you call. What if I lose it all? Oh, sister, I will help you.
Mr. Irrelevant live from Green Bay following practice number 1 for the Green Bay Packers. Training camp is in the books. NFL season's here, man. I woke up today. I was so excited. I was like a kid on Christmas. Alex Strouf with you, producer Tiny Hands, Hunter Vaughn helping us out in Madison running the show. Chris Larson back in Milwaukee as well helping out run the show. Patrick on the text line, 844-770-3776. Alex, you are naive and thankfully not in charge of the Packers. Highest paid quarterback off barely 9 games? OMG, says Patrick. Coming right for the throat with that one, Patrick. 844-770-3776. It's not that I'm naive, and I agree. Thankfully, I am not in charge of the Packers. I'd probably still have Aaron Rodgers here, to be real honest with you. I probably never would have drafted Jordan Love either. So thankfully, I'm not in charge of the Packers because it turned out pretty darn good for Brian Gutekunst moving on from Rodgers and drafting Jordan Love back in 2020. When it comes to the highest paid thing, and look, I by no means am a genius. I'm by no means in the running to become a general manager in the NFL, Patrick. So you're in luck when it comes to naive and thankfully not in charge of the Packers. But when it comes to the highest paid thing, the National Football League pays players based on not what you have done for me. It's potential. It's what you will do for me. And Jordan Love clearly, off those 9 games you mentioned, deserves to be paid like a franchise quarterback. And when you look at the quarterback market, Jared Goff gets $53.5 million. Trevor Lawrence gets $55 million. And by the way, Patrick, Trevor Lawrence is the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, alongside Joe Burrow. But Burrow deserved it. He brought that team to a Super Bowl. He proved it. And he can't prove he can stay healthy, but he's proved he can play at the highest of levels, which, by the way, Love played at in those 9 games you mentioned. Trevor Lawrence never had a 9-game stretch like that. Trevor Lawrence won one playoff game, just like Jordan Love in his one season as the starter. Jordan Love deserves to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. There is no argument against that. And look, signing him now rather than later is going to work in your favor. If that's $56 million a year, great. You have, A, have the money to do that, but B, the cap is only going up. The cap has more than doubled in the last 12 years. More than doubled. Teams can spend a lot more money on their players. And I understand it is a ridiculous amount of money to everyday normal people like you and me. But he is deserving of it. You pay based on potential. And the ceiling that Jordan Love showed us in the youngest team and the youngest offense in the NFL last year is worth being paid the highest in the NFL. I know it sounds insane, but that's how it works. You're paid based on potential, not what have you done for me already. Because if it's based off what you've done for me already, he's making maybe Daniel Jones money of $40 million a year, which is also what Kirk Cousins got paid. Jordan Love is young. He's 25 years old. He had one season as a starter. Half of it wasn't very good. The second half of it was better than anybody else in the NFL. So in the magic word, Hunter, before we give away our final couple spots in the ESPN Wisconsin Fantasy Football League, I've used one word to describe what I want out of Jordan Love for the 2024 season. Hunter produces Mr. Relevant 3 times a week. He's heard me say this word probably 876 times this offseason. Hunter, what is the magic word I've used to describe Jordan Love and what I want from him in 2024?
Consistent.
That is correct. Consistent is the word. I want consistency. I understand how roller coastery last season was as a Packers fan. After, I think, the 5th game, I said on this program, I don't know if he's a guy. I don't know if they hit for a 3rd time in a row. And then I was in this very backyard in the shadow of Lambeau Field because I host our pregame show, Green Bay Game Day, 3 hours before every Green Bay Packers game on 620 WTMJ, ESPN, Wisconsin. I was standing in this backyard when he beat the Chiefs on Sunday night. And that was the week after he beat Detroit on Thanksgiving in Detroit the way he beat Detroit. And the Packers beat Detroit. And then they beat Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes when the lights were the brightest on Sunday Night Football. And he was kind of against the Giants. But then you saw what he did in that stretch at the end of the season. Against Minnesota, against Chicago, on the road at Dallas, and even the first 3 quarters on the road at San Francisco in the divisional round. He was phenomenal. He outbattled all of those quarterbacks. Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott. He was better than all those guys. So, yeah, he deserves to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. And I understand. I understand everybody listening is probably in the same boat as Patrick. Thankfully, Alex Strouf isn't running the Packers. Well, you're in luck. I'm not. But the guys that are in charge of the Packers, I hope by the end of this week, will be agreeing with me, Patrick. Jordan Love will be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, or very close to it. He'll be higher paid than Jared Goff, who I think is number 4 right now at $53.5 a year. Burrow and Lawrence are at $55 a year. He will be much closer to Burrow and Lawrence, if not ahead of Burrow and Lawrence, hopefully by the end of this week. Because you don't want this thing to drag out, man. You don't want to get into week 2 and week 3 of camp, and Love still hasn't practiced, and now you still got Sean Clifford playing with Josh. You just don't want that for chemistry's sake. So we will see how that goes. It's 1:26. I'm 2 minutes late. We're celebrating the start of the 2024 NFL season by giving away spots in our ESPN Wisconsin Fantasy Football League. We've got 6 spots this hour to give away. Callers 1 through 6. Hunter's going to take your information, so remain patient. He's got to go through 60. Stay on hold. Callers 1 through 6 right now. 844-770-3776. Caller 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are going to qualify for the ESPN Wisconsin Fantasy Football Draft taking place August 1st, 6 o'clock at Dave & Buster's in Wauwatosa. Your way in right now, 844-770-3776. Callers 1 through 6. 844-770-3776. Callers 1 through 6 are going to get in to the ESPN Wisconsin Fantasy Football Draft. The only thing you need to be present at Dave & Buster's in Wauwatosa. 844-770-3776, your way in. So I asked you one word to describe your feeling of Jordan Love holding in for practice 1 for the Packers. And, I see some of the responses we haven't gotten to yet coming in at the text line, 844-770-3776. I see Matt and Racine say, disappointed. Mostly because it's either Love's camp getting unreasonable or Packers are trying to play hardball too much. Get her done. And I'm with you, Matt. I don't think I'd say disappointed. I'd say irritated. Irritated is probably my word because I don't blame Love. Love is making the right decision. And we've talked about the scenario obviously you don't want to happen. God forbid, right? God forbid he pops an Achilles or tears an ACL or even something small, right? Like rolls an ankle and is out for a few weeks and he hasn't been paid yet. When you secure the deal and secure the absolute generational wealth that comes with being the likely highest paid quarterback in the NFL, why risk it? He proved he's a franchise quarterback. Pay him like it. And I imagine it'll get done. But Matt's point is totally correct, right? And I always say this, Matt. Two things can be true. Love's camp is probably giving some close to unreasonable demands, and the Packers aren't ponying up, right? They're playing hardball. Like, two things can be true, and I think that's why it's taken this long. Because I keep pointing to the date that we all had circled in the offseason. The NFL draft was in the books. May 3rd was the magical date in which Jordan Love could be eligible for an extension. And my question to the Packers, which we'll probably never get an answer on, is when did the negotiations, actually start? When did your negotiations with Jordan Love begin? My guess is probably not May 3rd. They probably let him have his summer. Jordan Love went out to Italy and got engaged and had a nice offseason. But July 22nd is really late for when this was coming, right? I mean, we saw it get done with Jared Goff way earlier. I think it was about a week after that May 3rd date. We saw Trevor Lawrence's deal get done over a month ago now. It was June 14th for Trevor Lawrence. What the heck's taking so long with Jordan Love? The Packers understand how this works, right? I mean, they've been in this business a while. Jordan Love played like the best quarterback in football for half the season. He is 25 years old. He is your quarterback of the future. He answered that question. That was the big question we all had entering the season last year. A season full of curiosity and low expectations. Jordan Love answered the question whether or not he is the franchise quarterback. The answer is yes. Definitively yes. The answer to the question is yes. He won a playoff game on top of that. That was the cherry on top. He's going to get paid. But maybe the Packers are only offering him, let's say, $48 million a year. If you're an agent, put a hat on. If you're driving down 94 or 43, wherever you are, put your agent camp on. If Jordan Love is your client and the Packers say, hey, $48 million a year for 4 years, you're not saying yes. That's irresponsible. You're dealing with a guy like David Mulgeta is the name of Jordan Love's agent. He also happens to be the agent for Trevor Lawrence. It's a little bit of a sticky situation if one of your clients, who's won one playoff game in his career, is getting $55 million a year, and your other client, who's won one playoff game in his career, isn't. So, yeah, I imagine they are negotiating for $55 or $55.5, $56 million. And the Packers are probably closer to 51 or 50. I bet it's closer than we think it is. That would be my guess. It is closer than we think it is. But that could only be the matter of a few $1 million, and if the Packers aren't ready to bite, Packers aren't ready to bite. But the leverage is in Jordan Love's hand now, right? Holding in rather than holding out. T.J. Watt did that a couple of years ago to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That may have been last season, in fact, maybe 2 years ago. He held in, and it worked. He got paid, and he should, right? T.J. Watt, the former Wisconsin Badger, debatably the best edge rusher in the entire league, if not the best edge rusher in the entire league. Myles Garrett might have a word. He deserved to get paid like the best edge rusher in the league. Jordan Love played like the best quarterback in the league. He deserves to get paid like the best quarterback in the league. We will see. My word is irritated. Why the heck has it taken so long? You can still hit us with your one word to describe Jordan Love holding in, your feelings as a Packers fan. 844-770-3776. Curious to hear from you. Coming up next, we play a game of quick hits, 4 downs, 4 questions relating to the Green Bay Packers in 2024. Tiny Hands knows the questions. I don't. We answer those. Coming up next, we play a game of quick hits. It's Mr. Irrelevant on ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Mr. Irrelevant with Alex Strouf. Miss any of the show? Find commercial-free podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, it's Hunter Vaughn. ESPN Madison and Zimbrick Honda are celebrating the area's best high school sports stories with the Game Changers of the Month. Follow ESPN Madison on social media to see teams making an impact in their community. Nominate your local team today at ESPNMadisonGameChangers.com.
Busch Light is not only as cold and smooth as the mountain stream, it's also brewed for the farmers and ranchers. Ben Brust here. Join me in saying cheers to those who work in the backbone in the state of Wisconsin. Pick up your limited edition Busch Light corn cans today. For every case of these limited edition cans, Busch Light is donating to Farm Rescue. Pick up Busch Light corn cans today, wherever you get your delicious beer. Offer good through July 31st, 2024, up to $200,000. Eligible package sizes 15 packs, 18 packs, 24 packs, and 30 packs. Case equal 24-pack case equivalent. Enjoy responsibly. 2024 Anheuser-Busch. Busch Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
For official rules and more information about every contest on 100.5 ESPN, visit ESPNWisconsinContests.com. That's ESPNWisconsinContests.com. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN app.
On Thursday, July 25th, we're celebrating our 25th anniversary at Ho Chunk Gaming Madison, and there's something for everyone. Like our hot ticket drawings with 24 separate $2,500 cash prizes and one $25,000 grand prize. That's $85,000 in cash prizes. Plus, there's free $25 rewards play for all guests. Free t-shirts and cupcakes while supplies last. And don't miss our spectacular drone show with over 300 drones lighting up the night sky. Come celebrate at Ho Chunk Gaming Madison.
Derek Jeter for American Family Insurance.
Life's better when you're under the American Family Insurance roof because they'll help protect your family's dreams. Whether it's a kid like me aiming for the big leagues, future rocket scientist, we have liftoff, or a budding prima ballerina, you can count on an American Family Insurance agent to help you dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
Grab a Coke and grab some cash with the Coca-Cola Summer Cash Grab, only from Quick Trip. Play daily in your Quick Rewards app for a chance to win up to $250,000. Earn extra chances to enter by purchasing any qualified Coke, Monster Energy, Powerade, Body Armor, Smart Water, or Core Power Elite products with Quick Rewards. Summer just got a whole lot cooler with Quick Trip and Coca-Cola. No purchase necessary. See QuickTrip.com/sweepstakes for details.
What's up, Madison? It's head coach Kelly Sheffield.
Wisconsin proved they were the #1 team in the country tonight.
You're listening to Madison's new home for Wisconsin Badger volleyball, 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
The dog days are over. The dog days are done. The horses are coming, so you better run. Run fast for your mother.
Yeah, Mr. Relevant rolls on live from Green Bay following practice number 1 for the Green Bay Packers this training camp. If you're watching on the YouTube stream, I've got a pretty sick setup here in Green Bay. I've got Lambeau Field, the most historic building debatably, in North American sports behind me. People are rolling through the parking lot after getting their autographs, maybe getting a bite to eat at the 1919 Kitchen and Tap inside Lambeau Field. It is a picture-perfect weather day up here in Green Bay, 81 degrees. A little toasty, but it's been fun. We do this thing every once in a while, Hunter and I, especially during the football season. It's called Quick Hits. And that is essentially, we do 4 questions that Hunter writes. I do not preview them. Hunter asked me 4 questions regarding the Packers. I answer them, and I want to hear from your answers as well on the text line, 844-770-3776, or the other one, which I see a lot of text rolling in on, 800-990-3776. Let's get to Quick Hits.
Who stood out?
What are they going to rule it? He caught it? Touchdown! He did what?
Who stunk it up?
What do you mean I stink? Stink? Why don't you go take a shower?
Let's go around the league. This is Quick Hits.
Let's get to first down, Hunter.
So I wanted to look back at this Kenny Clark deal.
Yeah.
But also at the same time kind of look ahead with it. So I want to know, will Kenny Clark's deal and the fact that it's his 3rd contract be something that we continue to see from the Packers going forward? Or is it more likely that this is the last time that we see Green Bay give a non-quarterback a 3rd contract?
I don't think it will be the last time. I think there will be rare exceptions where a 3rd contract is signed. I mentioned a name earlier. Jair Alexander is currently on a 2nd contract. If Jair has a very good season where he's healthy and happy and maybe even appointed a team captain rather than self-appointing himself a team captain, and maybe stops skydiving a week before training camp, I think he is probably the next name that will get one. After that, I get tied up, right? Because Elton Jenkins is probably the next name on the offensive side of the ball that will get one. Because otherwise, right, the offense is scattered with rookies on rookie deals. So they need to get the contract 2 before they get to contract 3. So it's way too hard to project the Zach Toms and the Jaden Reeds and the Luke Musgraves of the world who are still in the rookie deals. But Elton Jenkins is a name who's still playing at an incredibly high level, and Jair Alexander is a name. Both guys on their 2nd deal that I think could get 3rd deals. So while it is rare, Hunter, especially with this recent transition to the youth movement, I would anticipate this will not be the last one ever, because I think Jordan Love will eventually get a... Technically, is this his 3rd contract? No, I would say no. This will technically only be his 2nd. But if you remember last year, he signed kind of that weird 1-and-1 deal after his rookie deal, and now he's going to sign another extension when it finally gets done. I would technically count this as his 2nd contract, but he will get a 3rd if he continues to play at least well, right? Because it's so hard to find a real franchise quarterback in the NFL, and even if his play is just slightly above average for the next couple of years on this very high-paid deal, I would guess he'll still get a 3rd deal just for probably less money. So those are the names that come to mind. They're rare, but they're not impossible.
2nd down.
As we're looking at training camp now, which of these is more important for the Packers? They find a reliable kicker, or they already see improvement on the defensive side of the ball?
Say that again.
Is it more important that the Packers find a reliable kicker here in training camp, or that they already see improvement from the defensive side of the ball?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, the answer is the defense, right? Because hopefully then you're not in a position where a kicker can lose or win you a game or make or break a game. But we shouldn't undermine how important that is, Hunter, right? The finding a consistent kicker this camp. They have 3 options right now. That's how you know Rich Bisaccia, who walked behind us about an hour ago here outside of Lambeau Field. Like, that's probably what keeps him up at night. His boy Durst, who I call Anders Carlson, Durst, he's probably not doing as well as you'd hope if you have 2 guys here to compete against him. It's not as important as a successful defense, though, right? Like the old phrase, the cliche adage of defense wins championships, it is still true. It is still true, right? Like you saw what the Chiefs had defensively. It wasn't their best offense of the several Super Bowls they've won over the past half decade. But Trent McDuffie was really good, and Chris Jones was really good. And guess what happened for both those guys this offseason? They got paid because they helped the Chiefs win a back-to-back Super Bowl. So having a good defense is better and more important than a reliable kicker. But obviously both of those are important. But I would say they need to see improvement out of the defense more so than they need a reliable kicker.
Third down.
As we now move into the regular season, looking at their schedule, the Week 9 game against the Lions is the most important regular season game for the Packers.
You said Week 9, so that's the week
Yep.
before the bye.
Correct.
It's certainly up there. Because, look, I firmly stand in the camp of I believe it will be a two-horse race in the NFC North, and it will be separated by one game. It's the Lions and the Packers, and I think they're both double-digit win teams. I do. I'm sold on the Packers, and I'm sold on Jordan Love, as we've talked about for the last 90-plus minutes. I do believe the Packers will be in contention for the NFC North. They might win 11, the Lions might win 12, or vice versa. And that will probably lead to the 2 seed and the 5 seed in the NFC. I am scared to call that the most important game of the regular season, though, because I think that San Francisco game is going to be really important. Divisional games obviously hold a little bit more of a weight, though, when it comes to your season. But I do think it's up there. I don't think it's number one. I think the San Francisco game is more important because I think that gives you more of a measuring stick of whether or not you're good enough to be a Super Bowl team. That's the game I have circled most on my calendar. So I would say it's probably second or third, tied with the other Detroit game because they obviously play them twice. But I think the San Francisco game is the most important game of the season. It's late November. It's a measuring stick of where you are in the NFC. And then right after that, you have a 4-day turnaround, and you play Miami in this building right behind me on Thanksgiving night. So I would say that San Francisco game is a little bit more important than the Detroit games this year, believe it or not, for me at least.
Fourth down.
And finally, as we then keep moving forward, we assume the Packers will be making the playoffs. So if the Packers lose before the NFC Championship game, we need to start having the Matt LaFleur can't win big games conversation.
It's a really good question. Before the NFC Championship game. So if they lose in the wild card or divisional round.
Correct.
It's too hard to answer on July 22nd. It depends who they lose to and how they lose. I don't think I'm having a hard time playing out a scenario in my head, Hunter, thinking out loud for a moment, where I'd be ready to have that conversation after this season. I think that's probably a season too early. Because Matt LaFleur's won some really big games. He just hasn't won the big game, right? He hasn't won an NFC Championship game. He hasn't gotten to a Super Bowl yet. He's had plenty of opportunities and plenty of good opportunities. And I would imagine this will be another good opportunity if all things go well this year.
Yeah, but I just think about the way in which he's already lost playoff games. You got run out of the building against San Francisco. Mm-hmm. You have some bad decision-making late in the game against Tampa Bay. I think that they've lost in a number of different ways to already say if it happens again for them, that's a conversation that's going to start happening. If, hypothetically saying, I don't think it will, honestly. I genuinely think the Packers will be playing in the Super Bowl because I think they're that good.
Hold on a minute. What did I just hear out of the mouth of Hunter Vaughn? Say that again?
I think the Packers are good enough to be playing in the Super Bowl this year.
Ooh!
I think this defense is going to be improved enough to get enough stops in games, and I think this offense is going to be really good if Jordan Love actually gets into camp and gets going here. If this goes into the preseason, they might have a slow start to the year, and it could be bad. But they're a Super Bowl contending team this year. Absolutely.
140. You saved that until we had 13 minutes left in the show? The Packers are Super Bowl good, according to Cowboys superfan Hunter Vaughn?
It came up organically. It wasn't something where I was just I'm going to hold on to this. I was just you know what?
Sounds like you were trying to keep that from me.
No.
Sounds like you were trying to keep that from me.
No. I've been praising the Packers all offseason on this show.
You have. Interesting. I also think the defense will be improved. I do think they're in a good spot. I think this is a really good team that should contend. I am fascinated to see, though, to your point and to your question on fourth down there, can Matt LaFleur win the big game? I think he can, and I'm not nervous about him as the head coach of the Packers, except, the one thing we can continue to question is his relationship with Ben Brust. It's the one thing we can question. You'll hear that story coming up at 2 o'clock on Kyle Brust and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin. That is Quick Hits. 4 questions. Curious on your thoughts. I see a ton of you watching on ESPN Wisconsin's YouTube channels, ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison. Appreciate you all hanging out on the video side. Wish you were next to me, having a cherry brandy old-fashioned from Door County Distillery, enjoying the weather, enjoying the view. I mean, it is an awesome day for practice number 1 for the Green Bay Packers. Absolutely buzzing in Green Bay today. You got practice number 1 in the books. You've got the shareholders meeting, and then over there at the Rest Center to my left, you've got WWE Monday Night Raw tonight. So a big day here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, my hometown. All right, we wrap up the show. Coming up next, what we learned, a couple final thoughts from day 1 of practice here in Green Bay. It's Mr. Irrelevant, presented by Door County Distillery on ESPN Wisconsin. Real quick, though, before we go to break, we do have a couple more spots, is my understanding, for the ESPN Wisconsin Fantasy Football League. A couple of people said, oh, wait a minute, I can't make it August 1st. So if you can make it August 1st, Dave & Buster's, Wauwatosa, 6 o'clock. Get your spot secured right now. Call Hunter, 844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. Your way into the ESPN Wisconsin Fantasy Football Draft. I think we have 2 or 3 spots available yet, so make sure you get in right now, 844-770-3776. We'll have a couple glasses at Door County Distillery while I whoop your butt in fantasy football this year. 844-770-3776. Your way into the Wisconsin Fantasy Football Draft August 1st at Dave & Buster's in Wauwatosa. Wrap it up, Mr. Irrelevant, right after this.
This is Mr. Irrelevant with Alex Strouf. Miss any of the show? Find commercial-free podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute.
This Badger Minute brought to you by Simden Chevrolet in Mount Horeb. You're only minutes away from a better buying experience at Simden Chevrolet in Mount Horeb.
In with your Badger Minute, I'm Alex Pravat. ESPN released their top 25 college football stadiums on Thursday, and the Wisconsin Badgers' Camp Randall ranked higher than you might think. ESPN writers cited historic relevance of the Wisconsin State Fairgrounds before the Civil War, the training grounds for Union soldiers during it, and they also noted the recent fun traditions like playing jump around between the third and fourth quarters. All of that added up to Camp Randall claiming the honor of 8th best college football stadium in the country. The Badgers lay in just 1 spot behind Ohio State and 5th in the Big Ten. You can read the entire article on ESPNWisconsin.com.
Order today from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and pay as low as $18 per window and $81 per patio door per month. Visit PellaWI.com.
Want to join the fastest growing home solar company in the nation and work in the fastest growing industry in the world? Everlight Solar has open positions in the Madison area and in their newly open Milwaukee location. As Wisconsin's largest home solar company, Everlight Solar offers great opportunities to gain new skills and advance your career. Don't miss the chance to join the Everlight Solar team. Visit everlightsolar.com to apply today. Save money, save the planet, and start with Everlight Solar.
LabCorp Clinical Trials is changing to a new name, Fortrea. While the name may be different, Fortrea combines decades of great experience and professionalism with new opportunities for clinical trial participation. It's more than a mission and more than a new name. Fortrea is dedicated to moving healthcare forward. To learn more about the future of healthcare and upcoming clinical trials, visit us at FortreaClinicalTrials.com. That's FORTREA clinicaltrials.com.
The GRB Rays have established themselves as one of the top baseball programs in the Midwest and the country. Looking for a team to play for in the 2025 spring and summer season? Tryouts are kicking off on July 23rd and signups are now open. Since the 2010 class, the GRB Rays have guided over 420 players to the next level, including 150 Division I players and 23 Major League draft picks. Rays Baseball, raise your game.
From color-changing Alexandrite to shimmering zircon and everything in between at Chalmers Jewelers, you'll find high-quality, affordable, one-of-a-kind pieces. We source straight from the gem cutters, and we manufacture in-house from start to finish. As the manufacturer, we believe in truth in pricing. Never pay more for quality and stunning, beautiful jewelry. She's one of a kind, and so should her jewelry be. While others may send your jewelry dreams to someone else to make, with us, your dreams become reality with the help of our custom jewelers, with you involved the whole way. With a staff that has over 200 years of combined experience, why buy from a place that marks up jewelry made by the thousands? When you can buy direct from Chalmers for that one-of-a-kind piece that is better quality, often for less.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
And Madison.
The annual Dream Big Gala is here, the celebration benefiting big brothers, big sisters of Dane County. Celebrate the power of mentoring at this year's gala on Friday, July 26th at Madison Marriott West. Take a journey through Wonderland as we celebrate mentorship in our community. Join us for a cocktail reception, raffles, whimsical dinner program, and live and silent auctions. Get your tickets now for the 2024 Dream Big Gala at bbbsmadison.org and celebrate mentoring in our community with big brothers, big sisters of Dane County.
Wisconsin's all-time sack leader is finally a Hall of Famer.
Sala led the Big Ten, always revved up to come off that corner.
Congratulations to ESPN Madison's Tarek Sala, proud member of the UW Athletic Hall of Fame class of 2024.
I've been dreaming about the West Coast. Found some places that I don't know. Seeing signs for California. Trade the shade for something warmer. I've been dreaming about the West Coast.
Fun show today, live from Green Bay. It's Mr. Irrelevant, presented by Door County Distillery. I'm Alex Strouf with you from the Tundra Trio houses in the backyard of Lambeau Field. Or really, Lambeau Field's in our backyard, I guess would be the correct way to phrase that. Really fun show, right? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of concern and conversation around Jordan Love. Not practicing today, still no contract extension. But I imagine it's coming by the end of the week. I just think both sides realize the stakes of where we're at now, right? Like, this is football season. It started today officially. Today. Jordan Love, not MIA, but not practicing, not wearing a helmet, not wearing a jersey. That's concerning. So I imagine both sides will realize where we are and what it takes. We always wrap up Mr. Irrelevant. As I mentioned earlier in the show, if you aren't familiar with Mr. Irrelevant, presented by Door County Distillery, it is a digital show and podcast Hunter and I do 3 times a week. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, beginning at 12:30 on the ESPN Milwaukee and ESPN Madison YouTube channels. ESPN Madison on Facebook, available wherever you get your podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Wisconsin On Demand. Search Mr. Irrelevant will be the first thing that pops up. We always wrap up the show with, you learn something new every day. We learned something new today. We've got 2 minutes. Rapid fire, Hunter. What did you learn?
I learned while I was gone for the last couple of days that College Football 25 is as great as I thought it would be. Absolutely love the game, and I'm actually a lot better at it than I thought I would be, so I'm pumped.
Attaboy. Yeah, Hunter took Friday's show off. He is a 30. You're 32, Hunter?
32, yeah. You disrespected me and said that I was 31.
I was giving you a little bit more credit because you were closer to 12 than 32. 32-year-old man took a day off from work to play a video game. Incredible. That's what I learned on Friday. What I learned today and what I learned just minutes ago, I'm going to show you the back of it. I am not a Packers shareholder. I mentioned earlier in the show, 570,000 shareholders in Packers country. 570,000. I am not one of them. However, I will be attending the shareholders meeting in Lambeau Field later today. Can't wait to see my best friend Mark Murphy, that dork. Can't wait to see him. Whatever he's going to say. Maybe they'll have a table at the 50-yard line in the shareholders meeting where Jordan Love, David Mulgeta, Russ Ball, Brian Gutekunst are all sitting as we enter the bowl in historic Lambeau Field. And he's got and Jordan Love will have a pen with a quill on it, like a feather at the end of it, and he'll be signing his contract to become the highest-paid quarterback in the NFL. Appreciate Chris Larson, Hunter Vaughn for running the show today. Thanks to Brad Nortman for dropping by to share some insight. You can hear more of that great insight from Brad Nortman coming up next on Kyle Bruston Nortman here on ESPN Wisconsin. That will do it for us today from Green Bay. You miss any of the show, you can find it at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Wisconsin On Demand. Wherever you get your podcast, that is brought to you by Door County Distillery, locally produced, handcrafted, and award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County. I'm hanging around. I'm going to the shareholders meeting. I'm looking at Kyle Wallace wearing his official Jordan Love jersey. He'll be attending the shareholders meeting as well. Kyle Brad Nortman is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin.
Hey, it's Alex Strouf for my great friends at Door County Distillery, locally produced handcrafted